Hi, everyone. Welcome to Everyday Real English from Real Life podcast.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We're here to help you really get to grips with complex topics and pick up some essential English along the way. Today, we're taking a really vital deep dive into road safety. We'll be focusing especially on summer travel, actually, and a crucial topic within that. Driving under the influence. This is something everyone needs to understand, not just for your own safety, but also for learning key English phrases you'll definitely hear, maybe use, whether you're traveling or just, living your daily life.
That's absolutely right. And, with summer coming up, more people around on the roads, vacations, parties, gatherings. And unfortunately, that can mean the risk of impaired driving incidents goes up too. So you really want to start with let's say, a powerful, very direct statement you often see on road signs here in the U.S. It's buzzed driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed.
Mm-hmm.
That phrase, it really captures a critical idea.
Yeah, that's a common one and so important. But maybe for our listeners, could you explain what buzzed actually means here? Because drunk, that seems pretty clear, right? But buzzed, that feels a bit more, subtle.
That's a really great question.
Yeah,
it is more subtle. So when we talk about being buzzed, it basically means you feel just slightly affected by alcohol. Maybe you feel a little bit relaxed, perhaps a bit lightheaded, or just, not quite your usual self. You might think, oh, it's fine, I only had a couple of drinks. But the thing is, even feeling just buzzed means your judgment, your reaction time, your coordination, they're already impaired. You're actually not safe to drive.
Okay.
Whereas drunk, like you said, that means heavily intoxicated, clearly unable to control a vehicle. But the key point, the really critical takeaway, is that even if you only feel buzzed, you are still impaired. And that means you're engaging in what we call drunk driving. There isn't really a safe middle ground when you mix alcohol and get behind the wheel.
that makes total sense. So buzzed is kind of the starting point of impairment, but it's dangerous right from the get-go. And the statistics, wow, they really hammer home how serious this is. I mean, in a recent year, over 11,000 people were tragically killed in crashes involving alcohol-impaired drivers. And that's just in the United States.
11,000. It's staggering.
It really is. That's 30% of all traffic deaths? Just think about that. It means one death every 45 minutes. Or, put another way, 32 people killed every single day because of alcohol-impaired driving. And the impact, it's not just the loss of life, is it? There's this huge financial cost, too, right? Billions of dollars.
Absolutely billions. That covers medical care, property damage, lost productivity, and of course the immeasurable cost of the lives that are lost. It's a deeply, deeply concerning issue. And it's important to remember it's not just alcohol either. We're seeing drug impairment as a major factor on our roads too.
Yeah.
Studies have shown a really high percentage of drivers seriously injured in accidents test positive for alcohol or other drugs. And that includes things like marijuana, opioid, stimulants, even sedatives. So the message is broader, really. Any substance that impairs your ability to drive safely, you should avoid it completely before driving.
Absolutely. A crucial point. Okay, so with that really serious context set, let's break down some essential English terms. These are terms related to driving under the influence that you'll definitely hear legal settings, news reports, maybe even just conversations about safety. Where should we start?
Okay, let's start with DUI. It's a very common acronym. You'll see it and hear it a lot. It stands for driving under the influence. Simple as that. It means operating a vehicle while impaired by alcohol or drugs. It's a serious legal offense. You might hear a police officer, for instance, say you are being charged with DUI, or maybe you were driving under the influence of alcohol.
Okay, DUI. Got it. And closely linked to that is BAC, right? What's that one?
Yes, exactly. BAC. That stands for blood alcohol content, or sometimes blood alcohol level. Basically, it's a measurement. It measures the amount of alcohol that's actually in your bloodstream. There's a legal limit for BAC. If you get pulled over and tested, and your BAC is above that limit, you're considered legally impaired. For adults over 21 here in the U.S., that limit is typically 0.08%. So an officer might say your blood alcohol level is over the legal limit.
Right, 0.08. And how do they actually check that level? What kind of tests might someone be asked to take?
Good question. There are a few ways. If an officer suspects you're impaired, they might ask you to take a breathalyzer test. That's a little handheld device you blow into. And it measures the alcohol on your breath, which correlates to your BAC. Another really common one is the field sobriety test. Now, this isn't a machine.
Oh.
It's more a series of Physical and mental exercises, things like walking in a straight line heel to toe, or standing on one foot, maybe following a pen with your eyes. The officer uses these tests to observe your coordination and balance, basically to determine if you are, quote, fit to be on the road. Are you capable of driving safely?
And if you're not, if you fail these tests or your BAC is over the limit, the consequences are pretty severe, aren't they? It's much more than just a speeding ticket.
Oh, absolutely. Far more severe. The penalties for a DUI are really serious. First, you could face a significant fine. That's a large sum of money you have to pay. Then, your driver's license will also be temporarily suspended. That means you legally cannot drive for a set period. It could be months, even years, and in more serious cases or for repeat offenses, you could even go to jail, face actual imprisonment. And it doesn't stop there. Beyond those immediate legal things, a DUI charge can stay on your permanent record for years. This could cause you to lose your employment, especially if your job needs you to drive. It can also make it harder to get certain jobs in the future. And one more big one. Your car insurance rates will skyrocket. They'll go way, way up, making it incredibly expensive just to own and insure a car.
Those consequences are truly life-altering. Okay, to really help bring these terms and the situation to life, let's listen to a short, realistic dialogue. Imagine a police officer pulling someone over because they suspect drunk driving. Try to listen for those key phrases we just talked about: DUI, BAC, impairment, consequences. Okay, here we go. As officer, sir, please pull over to the side of the road.
Driver, officer, is there a problem?
Says officer, yes, sir, you were driving erratically back there, swerving a bit. Can I see your driver's license and vehicle registration, please?
As driver, sure, here you go, officer.
As officer, thank you, sir. Tell me, have you had anything to drink tonight?
As driver, well, I only had a couple of drinks, officer, hours ago. I'm fine, really.
As officer, I can smell alcohol on your breath, sir. I'm going to ask you to step out of the vehicle. I need to perform a field sobriety test to see if you are fit to drive.
As driver. Oh, officer, is that really necessary? Look, I promise I can drive safely. I live just down the road.
As officer, sir, it is absolutely necessary. Drunk driving is a very serious offense, and my priority is ensuring that you and everyone else are safe on the road. Please step out of the vehicle now.
Wow, yeah, you can feel the tension there. And it's packed with those phrases. Did you hear the officer say, pull over? That's the instruction to stop. And notice the driver's response, only had a couple of drinks, I'm fine. That's so common, but the officer doesn't just take their word for it. The officer notices the smell of alcohol, observes the driving, and then moves straight to the field sobriety test. They're looking for signs of impairment. Things like maybe slurred speech that's speaking unclearly or difficulty balancing, which are common signs alcohol is affecting you.
Exactly. The officer needs objective evidence. They can't just rely on the driver saying, I'm fine. Okay, let's continue the scene. Let's say the field tests showed impairment and a breathalyzer was used as well, sir. Okay, sir. Based on the field sobriety tests and this breathalyzer result, your BAC, your blood alcohol level, is 0.10. That's over the legal limit. As officer. This means you are driving under the influence of alcohol, DUI.
As driver. Oh, no, really? 0.10. I didn't think it had that much.
As officer. It's easy to underestimate, sir. Remember what we discussed. Drinking impairs judgment, reaction time, and coordination, even a little bit.
As officer, the consequences are serious. You could lose your license, face heavy fines, possibly jail time. But worse than that, you could cause a fatal accident, hurt someone, kill someone. As driver.
Oh, God.
I didn't really think about that part, how I'd feel if my mistake hurt someone's family.
As officer. Exactly. Driving is a huge responsibility, sir, not just a privilege. If you plan on drinking any amount, you must plan how to get home safely before you start. As officer. You need to get a safe ride home tonight. You cannot drive.
As driver. I understand now, officer. Believe me, I will never, ever drink and drive again.
As officer. I hope you mean that. Learn from this. Always drive responsibly. Your life and the lives of others literally depend on it.
That dialogue really drives the point home, doesn't it? The officer clearly uses BAC is over the legal limit and driving under the influence.
Yeah.
And crucially, they explain why it's dangerous. Drinking impairs judgment, reaction time, and coordination. That's the core reason even feeling buzzed is too risky. And the solution mentioned is key, planning ahead for a safe ride. That's non-negotiable.
Absolutely. And sometimes, even before you might encounter an officer, you'll see messages on road signs. Big electronic signs often display safety slogans. Let's quickly look at a few common ones you mentioned earlier and make sure everyone understands them. The first one, buzz driving is drunk driving. We've really unpacked this, but seeing it written large on a sign is a stark reminder, isn't it?
It really is. It cuts through any ambiguity, it says. That slightly tipsy feeling. That is dangerous driving. Another very common one is drive sober or get pulled over.
Right. Pretty direct.
Extremely direct.
Mm-hmm.
Sober means completely free from the influence of alcohol or drugs. Zero impairment. And get pulled over, as we heard in the dialogue, means a police officer will stop your car. So the sign is basically a warning, almost a threat. Drive sober or expect to be stopped by the police and face those serious consequences we discussed.
Okay. And what about if you feel different, you drive different? That one seems a bit more psychological.
It is, yeah. It's about self-awareness. It's telling you, the driver, to pay attention to how you feel. If anything makes you feel different, alcohol, yes. But also maybe prescription medication, illegal drugs, even just being really tired or stressed, it will change how you drive.
Yeah.
Your judgment will be different. Your reaction time slower. Your coordination off. It won't be normal, safe driving. So it's a call to be honest with yourself before you even turn the key. If you feel off, don't drive.
That's great advice. These signs are really important safety tools. Now, while impaired driving is our big focus today, you mentioned earlier it's useful for English learners to know some other common words related to, well, less safe driving and accidents in general.
Definitely. Understanding these terms helps with news reports, conversations, or, heaven forbid, if you actually witness or are involved in something.
Okay, let's run through a few key ones. First, just the basic term, car accident. Pretty straightforward, right? A car hits something.
Exactly. It bangs against another car, maybe runs into an object like a tree or a lamppost, or tragically sometimes hits a person. It's any kind of collision involving a car.
Then there are specific actions. What about slam on the brakes or hit the brakes?
That means stopping your car very suddenly, very forcefully. Usually it's an emergency situation. Like if a child runs out into the street, you'd have to slam on the brakes immediately.
And run over.
That means your car actually passes over something, an object on the road, or much more seriously, a person or animal. A very dangerous term.
Okay, what if someone hits the side of your car, maybe while it's parked?
That's often called being sideswiped. It's a glancing blow to the side of the vehicle.
If they hit you from behind?
That's being rear-ended. Very common in traffic jams or stop-and-go traffic when someone isn't paying attention and doesn't stop in time.
What about when a driver just seems to, well, lose it?
You might say they lost control. This usually happens at higher speeds. Maybe the road was slippery, maybe they swerved too hard, maybe there was a mechanical failure like a tire blowout. The driver just can't steer or control the car anymore.
Which might lead to skidding.
Exactly. Skidding is when the tires lose their grip on the road surface, maybe because of water, ice, oil, even loose gravel, and the car starts to slide sideways uncontrollably.
And in a really bad crash, a car might roll over.
Yes, that's when the vehicle flips onto its side or its roof. That usually indicates a very severe impact or loss of control.
Now, moving to driver behaviors. Speeding is an obvious one.
Yeah, simply driving faster than the posted speed limit. A very common cause of accidents and tickets.
And tailgating. I see this all the time.
Me too. It's driving way too close to the car in front of you. It's dangerous because it leaves you no time to react if they brake suddenly. Really risky behavior.
Then there's reckless driving. What does that cover?
That's a broader term for driving dangerously without thinking about safety. It could be excessive speeding, weaving in and out of lanes without signaling, running red lights, just generally being careless and impatient. And it's often linked to road rage, which is when a driver gets angry at another driver and starts driving aggressively, maybe shouting, tailgating deliberately, or cutting them off.
Okay. And distracted driving. That seems huge these days.
Oh, it's massive. It means anything that takes your attention away from the act of driving. Using your cell phone is the big one, talking, texting, looking at maps. But it can also be adjusting the radio, eating, putting on makeup, even just being too absorbed in a conversation with passengers. Anything that takes your eyes or your mind off the road.
What about if someone causes an accident and just leaves?
That's called a hit and run. It's a serious crime. The driver hits something, another car, a parked car, a pedestrian property, and then drives away without stopping to exchange information or help.
And finally, what's a pileup?
A pileup is usually a large accident involving multiple vehicles, often many cars crashing into each other sequentially. These tend to happen on highways, often in bad weather conditions like heavy fog, snow, or ice, where visibility is poor and stopping distances are long. One crash can quickly trigger a chain reaction.
Wow, that's a lot of useful, if sometimes grim, vocabulary. Okay, let's bring it back to our main focus. Staying safe and avoiding impaired driving. Expert. The advice from the officer in our dialogue seemed really clear on the cultural expectation here, didn't it?
Absolutely. That line, if you plan on drinking, you should also plan how to get home safely. That's not just legal advice. It's really a cultural norm, or at least a strong expectation in many places. It means thinking ahead before you have that first drink. How am I getting home?
And that brings us to the idea of a designated driver, right? Explain that for our listeners.
Yes. The designated driver, often called the DD, is someone in a group who agrees not to drink any alcohol at all for the entire evening. Their specific job, their responsibility, is to stay completely sober so they can drive everyone else in the group home safely afterwards. It's a really common and socially responsible practice.
A great system. And if you don't have a DD,
Then, as the officer mentioned, you absolutely should use a taxi or a rideshare service, like Uber or Lyft. These services are so accessible in most places now, there's really no excuse. Just a few taps on your phone and you have a safe ride. The absolute core message is crystal clear. The safest, best choice is always just to avoid drinking altogether if you know you have to drive later. Period.
it truly reinforces that idea you mentioned. Driving is a responsibility, not just a privilege.
Yeah.
And those final words from the officer in the dialogue, your life and the lives of others depend on it. That's incredibly powerful, isn't it? It's not just about you avoiding a fine or jail.
Exactly. It's about protecting everyone. And it's worth remembering who gets hurt in these crashes. We often think about the impaired driver. And yes, statistics show about, say, 60-something% of fatalities in alcohol-related crashes are the drivers themselves. But that means a huge chunk, nearly 40%, are other people, innocent people, passengers in the car, people in other vehicles they hit, pedestrians, cyclists.
Wow, almost 40% are not the impaired driver.
Yes, and perhaps most tragically, hundreds of children are killed every single year in the U.S. in crashes involving an alcohol-impaired driver. It's just a devastating reminder of the ripple effect, the widespread harm that one person's bad decision can cause.
That really puts it into perspective. So for you, our listener, what does all this really mean? It means making responsible choices about driving, especially around alcohol or any impairing substance, isn't just about following the law. It protects your own life, sure, your freedom, your finances. But just as importantly, it safeguards everyone else sharing the road, including the most vulnerable people, like kids. Safety has to be the top priority, always. Okay, we have covered a lot in this deep dive on summer road safety and impaired driving. We've gone from understanding buzzed versus drunk to key legal terms like DUI and BAC, practical solutions like designated driver and rideshare. We also looked at those important road signs and a whole list of other useful English vocabulary for car accidents and driving behaviors like rear-ended, reckless driving, and pile up.
We really hope this discussion has given you not just some vital English phrases for real-world situations, but also, maybe more importantly, reinforced just how critical safe and sober driving habits are for everyone.
Thanks so much for tuning in to the deep dive. Please stay safe out there, especially during the busy summer months. Keep practicing your English. And we'll see you next time with more real-life knowledge.
Want to practice these phrases? Download your free PDF guide to review vocabulary, role plays, and quizzes. Find the link in the description and pinned comment, and feel free to share it with friends.
Like and subscribe for more English tips.